like to start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself and how you first got into music?
Yes. So my journey into music was not linear. It was very, I'd say all over the place. But so I came from Guernsey, not the centre of music. I moved to England, tried to get into music there, wanted to be somewhere where there was more of a scene. I could meet people who are sort of like-minded, also wanted to be a singer because I didn't really have any necessary comparisons, I guess, of people who wanted to do the same thing. So I sort of always felt like I was a little bit alone in that. So I moved to England, went to a school that was very arty, lots of singers, actors, everything. I then ended up going and doing a history degree, which was a little bit left field. Did a history degree, but knew I always wanted to do music. It was very obvious I wanted to do that. I tried to move a big piano into my hall's room, obviously didn't fit. All my friends thought it was very funny. I ended up doing lots of little gigs around London. But yeah, there was no doubt I was going to do music. So as soon as the degree was done, I went and did lots of writing for other people. I was trying to meet anybody that I could in music. Ended up, to be honest, it feels like a bit of a blur. I can't really remember the exact moment from knowing I was going to go into that straight out of uni and then being signed.
Do you want to take us through a little bit of like your creative process when it comes to writing music? Like, what does a day in the life of recording a single or an album look like?
Yeah, it can be very different. So when I was signed, it was I would say it was more of a collaborative process. I think that's just like it's a natural thing. You sign, they go, we'll put you in with this guy, you fly to LA, you're working with lots of different people. So there was a lot of writing with tons of people, realizing something's not going to come out of everything, and that's fine. But yeah, it seems to be a process everybody goes through where they write with tons of people. And then you figure out either who your people are that you end up doing quite a lot of stuff with, or that you don't necessarily need as many people as you thought you did. So I've been through all of it. So there are people that I absolutely love working with and work with on a couple of things. But I have found myself a lot more recently writing alone. Loads of songs on my new album I've written with other people, but this is where I'm at the moment, where it's like it feels like a big challenge, but I just love it. It just suddenly everything sounds exactly how I wanted it to. It's taken me a long time to get to this point. I think confidence wise, and just feeling like there must be something missing if I'm doing everything myself. But the problem is it takes ages. I'm a little bit all over the place, so I'll start something and then I'm like, I need fresh ears, and then I'll like go away for a week. I come back, I'm like, love it, need to change this immediately, need fresh ears again, and I just end up, oh my god, I go on forever. But this is why this album's taken about 4 years. Well, that's not the only reason, but it's taken a while, but I'm just super proud of the stuff that I have ended up doing myself. And yeah, I mean, it's really exciting. But yeah, it could be, oh god, day in the life. Yeah, it really changes depending on what I'm writing and who I'm writing with. But yeah, at the moment, because I'm spending a little bit more time here in the Channel Islands, it is just me. It is just me by myself. Honestly, in my bedroom, I've given up my studio, which is in England, for now, and I can work from absolutely anywhere. I sit on the kitchen table, I sit in the office, I sit outside, I'm by the sea, I'll do whatever I want. But and most of my songs I've written on voice memo on my phone. So yeah, it's a little bit more of an interesting process, but yeah.
I also wanted to talk about your name. Is there any particular reason you decided to go with a stage name, and also where did you get the inspiration for the name from?
I think it went along the lines of, so when I signed to Sony, understandably there were like 5 other Chloes. I'm called Chloe. It yeah, I mean, what, you know, nobody needs a sixth. So we tried to come up with something. At the time, I think I was trying to learn Spanish. And then a guy I was working with just said, you know, what's your favorite Spanish word? And I was like, I don't even know if this is right, empanadas or something. And I was like, I think that's, is that just the Spanish dish?
Empanadas, yeah, it's a meal.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I wasn't really learning anything. I was just thinking about food. I was probably ordering delivered, but so I said that, and they were like, "Ooh, empara, that sounds nice." And then I was like, "Okay, we need something else. It can't just be that." And then I talked to my parents. They're like, "Oh, Empara sounds like empowerment, so like Empara Mi." But they're both from Belfast, so they've got Irish accents. So when they said it, it sounded like Empara Mi.
Yeah.
When they said empower me. So then I looked up what it actually meant, and I think empara is a Latin derivative for like to seize or to take over. And then me, if this might be completely wrong again, meant beauty through music, possibly in Japanese. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so it's a little bit of something. It doesn't really mean anything as the words stand, I don't believe, but yeah, so at least if anybody's typing it in, I don't think anything else comes up. It's just weird. I had to keep it away from Chloe. I think there is something scary, and it does remind me of being back at school, and it's like, welcome onto stage, Chloe, blah blah blah, and then immediately you're like, oh my god, I have to be myself in this moment. Whereas if you have a different name, it's like a step away from it, and you can just be whoever you want, basically. So yeah, I have a lot of comfort in knowing I can run away. It's made me laugh when people in real life would call me Empara. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna answer. I'm like, what the hell are they talking to? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense for me. They really don't collide that much, although it is completely me, the music. It, for some reason, I can, yeah, it does allow like a degree of separation, which is quite nice. But that is sometimes why I have, like, even in my Instagram bio, I have to remind people that I'm, you know, not as angry as my music. I'm very different to speak to, as I have been told I come across in my music. So yeah, so it is nice to be both.
You've been featured in some massive monumental things in film and TV. You know, your song was in the ending scene of Ginny and Georgia season 1. Is that correct? Was it the first season?
I think so.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and obviously in Dynasty as well, which is something that Dynasty, because I know my mum tells me off when I say it the American way. So any British people both ways now. Yeah, you know, that was another, when that came out, that was another massive show on Netflix, and you've been in big films and things like that. How does it feel to be recognised for such, you know, monumental things, because there's such big productions and have a big following, you know, it has such a big impact? How did it feel to be a part of that?
It's obviously so nice, and I have to say, I've been very, very lucky that the shows have actually been really good. Because you'll get like a request in, and to that point, obviously you haven't seen the show, or there might be like an earlier season you can sort of catch up if you haven't watched it already. But I think it was with Behind Your Eyes and Ginny and Georgia and a couple of other ones, like One of Us Is Lying. I think they were on their first seasons, so you have absolutely no idea what it's going to be like. But I think when I'm seeing it like come up, you know, when you see on like Netflix, it's you know, recommended as like the #1 show doing something, and I'm like, oh, that's good. And then I'll watch it, I'll be like super invested, forget why I'm watching it, and then I'll come on, I'm like, oh my god, there she is. So it is really nice. And I think I happen to always somehow be in some sort of really dramatic like finale scene or something, and it did, I mean, I don't want to do any spoiler alerts, but the two ones I was thinking of, the Behind Her Eyes and the Ginny and Georgia, they're both in like the very turning point, oh my god moments, right at the end. So naturally it's been really nice for me, because people are like, hear from Ginny and Georgia, hear from blah blah blah, on like the YouTube videos and, you know, socials and stuff. So I do get that quite a lot. So it is nice to know that people are discovering you from that, but also that, you know, it's a free music video, really. You know, it gives this sort of dramatic like context to what you're already singing about in a way. So yeah, I mean, I'll never, you know, get too used to it.
And now moving on to your more recent stuff, you just released your song I Can't, and this is going to be my little fangirl moment, because I watched the music video, and first of all, not only is it such a gorgeous song in itself, the lyrics, the vocals, everything, I had goosebumps and I was tearing up whilst watching it. I haven't had a reaction to a song like that for a very, I'm even tearing up thinking about it, Jesus. I haven't had a reaction to a song like that in a very long time. It's a really beautiful piece. But also the music video is absolutely stunning as well. If anyone's heard the song but hasn't watched the music video, go and watch it, because it just encapsulates the experience of listening to it. It's fantastic. So I wanted to get you know, you to tell me a little bit about like the inspiration behind the song and the process of writing that particular one.
Yes. So if you couldn't guess, it's about loss. So I think, you know, it's one of those feelings. I was like, I'm always trying to capture a feeling that is real. So I was thinking about this certain thing, and I was just like, oh God, what if this ever happens? I'll just be absolutely devastated. So I wrote in that moment at the thought of like losing that thing, and yeah, and then I was just like, it just happened anyway. And yeah, I was just like, it is that sort of bottom of your stomach, gut wrenching, you're like feeling even when you remember things, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I just, that feeling I hadn't quite, it's one thing going, I'm really sad, and then there's another thing I feel when I was just like, oh my God, I'm trying to write an entire song that is that one feeling that I can't get rid of. And obviously still sticks with me. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of dive into that. And I don't think I've been that obviously emotional before, where I'm like, this is how I'm feeling. It's, you know, not embarrassing. It's just, you know, oh God, you know, putting yourself on the line basically, and just really directly, I'm really sad all the time, sort of thing. And again, with the video, so I have just shot 5 videos. So basically, I met this amazing girl called Eleanor, and we just became friends immediately. We just went for coffee, and then we were like, should we just do 5 music videos together? So this was the first one. I was sending her all the songs that I thought would be the songs that I wanted in the right order and everything. And I think she said she really loved this one, and she's got a obviously background in directing but also dance. So I think immediately she was like, your music's quite lyrical in terms of dance and everything. So that was the obvious one to start with. But she actually choreographed all the movement as well as directing it. And I mean, I'm absolutely terrified with the sea, so I was like, let's shoot in the sea, why not? So it was right in the middle of December, which is obviously very cold. The bit that goes black at the end. If you sort of zoom in, you'll see the snow, and my whole body was just going like this. But you know, when you're convulsing from your core, I just couldn't stop, and I was like, I don't know if you're picking this up on camera, but I look like I'm having an actual seizure here. It's not good. And it was just really cold. We just sort of wanted to capture that feeling. I'm not sure how obvious the point of the video was. I think we were trying to keep it open to interpretation, and even mine and Eleanor's interpretation was like slightly different of, you know, what the point was. But yeah, I think it was very like, you know, metaphorical in a way of, you know, I was obviously the grieving person, and these were like my support system, the girls and stuff, basically trying to pull me off the edge, I guess. And yeah, the water was very symbolic and stuff. But yeah, it was an amazing process for absolutely freezing. Yeah, I think that made sense as the first chapter in this whole thing. I have written all of the songs already, obviously, and the project as a whole is called Monsters and Masochists. And then I sort of saw every single as a chapter, and we did think about it quite a lot on how the story would go depending on what song in what order and everything. So this felt like, you know, my origin story, the sad thing that happens, and then the journey after it and how you sort of heal by the end. So this next single is, I guess you would say, the angry stage. Once you've sort of not gotten over the grieving, but that initial thing has happened, then you start getting really angry. And this is the next moment. It's the next single. So yeah, it's a journey, but yeah.
After obviously you've just released I Can't, is there anything else that's coming up in the next little while, in the near future?
Yeah. So Masochist, which is the second single, is out next Friday. So yeah, that is coming. That's the chapter 2, as I like to call it, from the odyssey of things, the story, which is the album. So yeah, so that's coming next week, which feels like it's snuck up on me very quickly. But yeah, so I'm excited about that.
And also I noticed that you've got lots of decorations and memorabilia in the background. Is there anything there that, you know, sticks out or has relevance to things you've been doing?
This is not the sword I've used, but this is going to make him laugh. This is my brother-in-law's medieval sword, which was the inspiration for what I have done in the next video, basically. This is for everybody who will watch the video next week. This is not the one I am using because I would get arrested. But this is an actual sword. The one I'm using in the video next week is not real. It is a replica, but it's heavy. It's a wooden sword. But yeah, so I am doing, I actually don't know the name of it, so I have to figure out what it actually is called. I do believe it's a certain type of martial arts. I'm not sure, which incorporates more sword play, sword fighting, little twisty turny things, but I did actually teach myself how to do it for the video. So not an expert, but yeah, so I'm doing some tricks, as I'd like to call them, with a sword for the video.
Do you find it difficult to switch between the headspaces of, you know, writing such a slow, more ballad style song to going to doing something that's more angry? You know, you sort of have to put your different heads on. Do you find it difficult to switch between the two?
I actually don't at all, and like even more so for video stuff. So we were having a good little giggle on the day that we were shooting 2 videos on the same day, and obviously not to give it away, but there was 2 ones that we shot on the same day in the same location. One was extremely sexual and the other one was really sad. So I, within the space of half an hour, I went from like shedding a tear to like doing some very sexy little things.
Is there anything else that you can tell us about what's coming up in 2025? You know, how big and epic is it going to be for Empara Mi? Is this going to...
Yes. So well, like I said, I've done quite a lot already. So yeah, the album is coming this year, and I have the next sort of 7 singles that are planned for it. I am lucky enough, I worked with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra on quite a few of the tracks. So when we say big, it does feel big. It does go there. And yeah, some of my favorite songs I've ever written are to come, basically. So yeah, there's a lot. I'm not going to slow down now. It's only...
No, she's not stopping.
No. I do hope to go on tour as well. So yeah, that's all stuff to aim for. But
everyone just needs to keep an eye out for everything that's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you.
It's been lovely.
Thank you for chatting to me.